Hi, welcome. In this lesson, we're going to be setting up the development environment. So you are going to need to have an editor. The editor that I'm going to be using in the upcoming lessons is called Brackets. It's available at brackets.io, and you can use any editor that you want, but I am going to be using this one. And if you are looking to try out a new editor, if you haven't used Brackets before, this is a great editor to be using. So again, it's available at brackets.io. This is an Adobe product. It's free to download. It's got a lot of really nice features such as the live preview, inline editors, and so on. So this is going to be the place where we're writing the code. And we also need to have somehow to render out the code, and that's going to be through a browser. The browser that I'm going to be using is going to be the Chrome browser. Now, you probably already have a browser in your system as you're watching this video within the browser. And if you are using a browser, I would recommend using Chrome because we are going to make use of the dev tools. So if you want to have the exact environment that I have in the upcoming lessons, this is the one that I'm going to be using. It comes with developer tools. So developer tools help us debug. And especially when writing JavaScript code, this is a great way to interact with the code and see what's happening in the background. So this is available within Chrome, and as well as other browsers have their own versions of the developer tools. In order to open it up on a Mac, it's Command Option plus C for a Mac, Control Shift C for Windows, Linux, and Chrome OS. Or you can go over to the right hand side and select more tools, and then from there you've got an option for developer tools. And what that does is that pops up this little window, opens it up in the console. By default, you should have it docked to the right hand side, and with the three dots you can dock it to the bottom. I am going to have it docked to the bottom of the page, and what it does is it allows you to write JavaScript code. And I'm just doing a quick hello message. And this doesn't actually interfere with the web page, so it runs independently because the JavaScript is running within the browser. So it gives you a place to debug and write JavaScript and try JavaScript code out without updating any of the web page contents. And it gives you also a way to debug. So in the upcoming lessons, I am going to be using brackets. So I'm going to have it opened on the left-hand side, as well as I'm going to have a browser window on the right-hand side so we can see the code and what it's rendering. So what I want you to do now is to open up your editor or however you're writing the code and create a brand new file. I'm going to create just an index file and set up the regular HTML tags. So first we'll save this as index.html, and then we'll set up the basic default HTML tags. So we've got the head, title, and then the body area. And we're going to add JavaScript into the page using a script tag. And this is where all of the JavaScript will go. This can be placed anywhere you want on the page. And when you do run the JavaScript code, it's going to execute the code. So sometimes you're going to find it within the head. Sometimes you're going to find it within the body before it closes. Best practice, if you are using and interacting with the web page contents using your JavaScript, it's always best to keep it near the bottom before the page closes. But as well, you can have it in the head if you're just writing JavaScript code that's running some functionality that's not interacting with your web page. So once you've created the index file, you're going to be ready to move on to the next lesson. And I'll just give you a quick example of how we can view that index file. So we'll just create an H1 so we do have something on the screen. So this is the folder that I'm going to be writing the code in, and I see the index file that I've just created. Now you can go and you can open it with Chrome, and that will open the browser window with the file. If you are using brackets, it does have an option for a live preview. So that's up at the top left. Click live preview, and that's going to open up another browser window with a live preview of the page. Generally, I do prefer this way, especially if I'm using brackets, because any edits or changes that I make is going to automatically be shown here on the right hand side, so that as we're going through the lessons, you can see the immediate rendering of the code within the browser window. And I'm also going to open up the developer tools, so going into more tools and developer tools, and have the console here at the bottom. And it also provides you messages, so there's no favorite icon there. So if you refresh it, that message will go away. So before you begin the next lesson, make sure that you do have an editor open, and I do suggest that you try the code out for yourself, as well as open within your browser the console window and type in alert hello and see what happens. And as well, take that same alert, place it within the script tags of your HTML file that you just created, and refresh the page and also see what happens. And you're going to notice that in both instances you get this hello pop-up window, and that's JavaScript. So you're ready to start creating more JavaScript, and that's coming up in the next lesson.